Thank you. Any questions for Yolanda? All right, let's go to Kevin.
Yeah, teachers, just like Yolanda said, doing a very good job getting things ready. Many of them spent a lot of time on spring break because we had a lot of things to roll out Monday, and I know they didn't do it all on Monday. They had done a lot of prep work before that, so kudos to them. No discipline issues this week, so it's been nice and quiet that way. And we do have I set up a staff meeting for Friday morning, conference staff meeting, just touch base with teachers, and we're going to check on how kids are progressing, kind of get a percentage of, how they're doing. And then secondly, if we haven't had any contact with students, we want to put together a list, and then next Monday start making phone calls to try to reach those parents and students to get them on board, and then just address any concerns that staff might have. And I know mentioned earlier, I sat in on John Gibson's class this morning. He had a 9 o'clock class. Some of them were probably recording from their bedroom. They sounded pretty sleepy, but I think about 75% of those kids were at his classroom, and then his 11 o'clock class had 100% participation. I didn't talk to him after his 1 o'clock class, but that was a neat thing. And, I think kids really want to do some things, so I think this will be a good thing moving forward. That's it.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin? That was a great update. I didn't see Ben join. I don't know if he's on, Mike.
I believe he is. Mr. Olemaker, are you there?
How about now?
Excellent.
All right, very good. Just to echo everything that's already been said, very much impressed with everything that our staff has done to this point in time, whether it be our classroom teachers, whether it be the work from the Success Center. Very impressed. With that, though, not surprised. I think, they do a great job in every situation. So while impressed, I'm not surprised. I think our plan's a great one. And I think as things change, we'll tweak it, and we'll do great with whatever comes.
We know you will. This staff, and this is all three schools, is just absolutely amazing. We do more with less than anyone I know, and in this situation, it'll be no different. So again, thank you to all three administrators for moving so quickly, and your leadership. It's needed more now than ever, and it shows that it's a very strong team. So Holly, you're on. Well, I'm sorry. Any questions for Ben? All right, we'll go to Holly.
Got to unmute your microphone. There you go.
There I am. All right. So, I'll echo what everybody else has said. It was comforting that the administrators really had a handle on everything before they met with us and gave us a real clear direction. The one thing I'll say about educators and administrators and support staff is, when we're given a problem, we jump right in and we figure out how to solve it. So it's been really great as a parent to look at the middle school, plans, and the elementary teachers, and myself, I've decided to hold office hours, so to speak, every day on Zoom from 1 to 1:30, because that's when high school kids are awake. So it was great. I had a bunch of kids jump on today. They didn't really have any questions. They just wanted to talk, and, we chit-chatted about a lot of things. So I like that we have this interaction. I miss them, and I miss, everything that we get to talk about in school, but this is a really good outlet, and I like that we have the opportunity to have that. So the only other thing that I really wanted to bring up is graduation. I know that we don't know. Obviously, I'm guessing it's not going to be, May 31st when we think it's going to be. The things that I want you guys to start thinking about is, Courtney and I were talking, we have to order the diplomas soon, and it has to have a date on the graduation. And I was thinking we would just keep the date the same, because if we do have to move the ceremony, it'll be a little bit short notice and we won't be able to do that. Another thing is, Ben and I and Courtney were talking about is community service hours. Obviously, we don't want the kids out, putting themselves in danger to get those community service hours. So just some things that I want everybody to sort of think about, so we're all on the same page in what our expectations are for, graduation requirements like that. And I know that we can't do much yet about credits and things, until we have a directive from the state, but those things that we do in-house, it would be helpful if I kind of knew where everybody was thinking with that. And that's all I have.
No, those are great thoughts, Holly. One thing I'd ask that some of our teachers may not be as familiar with tools like Zoom and how easy it is to use from a smartphone. So maybe it might be a good idea to teach your social skills to some of our staff that may not be quite as comfortable. We did a dry run with the board yesterday to do this meeting, and we weren't very good at it. So it's always good to have that help. So.
Well, I will say Christine Danoff was amazing immediately and started putting off a lot of videos and how-tos and things. So that's where I learned how to do it. So I'm assuming a lot of other teachers are doing it if you have people like John Gibson holding classes. And I know I talked to Courtney Cannon, she's doing it with math. And so there are a lot of teachers on board, and I think they will jump at it more once we know that this is going to go longer than April 3rd. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be in contact more about, teaching and stuff. I planned on doing a social gathering with some friends on Zoom later on, where maybe we can have a Pepsi together on Zoom. So maybe we can teach it that way. So
yeah, we do lunch and talk or walk and talks at Verizon where I work, and my staff will meet at lunch time, not to discuss work, but to just interact and try to stay connected. So yeah, those are great ideas. Thank you, Holly. Any questions for Holly?
I have a question, and not so much, I guess, for Holly as I thought about as you guys were talking, for maybe Ben or Kevin. Are we going to extend the high school for the incoming freshmen? I've had some parents ask regarding the schedule. Obviously the kids would do a lot of that at school and discuss with the teachers and then come home and talk to us parents for approval. Do we have anything in place for that, or where can we direct parents to go if they have questions about any of the courses that are going to be taken?
Sure. I would direct them to the new updated website there. If they go down just a little bit to the Success Center, there's probably more information in there than they're probably even equipped for. You'll see the course description guide is there, the scheduling forms which were distributed to students, and then also too, they can reach out to Maria and Tia as well with questions, but the majority of that is already in their hands or online. Fortunately, before we left, we did hold some of our scheduling meetings, so that information is in their hands. I would just communicate with them to be active in their communication with the Success Center.
Middle school, it's in the 8th grade Google Classroom, so students should have access information. And I know Maria asked the students at the meeting to take a picture, just make sure their names on both sides, take a picture and just email it to her, and then she'd have them. And we're still mailing our grade cards. They'll be out in a couple days. Put a note in there for 8th grade parents to just have their students do that. I think the deadline was Thursday, but I'm sure that will extend a bit. But I know the high school still has to get that done. So I think students will have a pretty good handle on it and probably less fearful than the parents, in my opinion. But
Thank you. Cody, I skipped you. I didn't mean to. Cody, did you have anything for us?
Hi there, Cody McPherson. No, nothing that wasn't already said. Our staff is doing an amazing job. Our teachers who were asked within 24 hours to change what they do, they did it. And I've told Yolanda, I haven't heard one complaint. There's like a challenge for them, and they want to meet this challenge. We had a really productive meeting today with the admins, with some other area admins, because we're in day 2 what others are in their week 2 about, and it's a blessing and a curse. We get to kind of see what others have done, but also we have to understand we're on day 2 of this. Their focus, and I think it's a great focus that we have been implementing as well, is that connection and care with kids first, before then the curriculum and instruction. And so we will get to that curriculum instruction more in depth, but we first want to just let kids know that, hey, we're here, we still love you, and we're going to make this as normal as possible. And our staff is doing a great job for it. So I'm just extremely proud of the response from our entire community.
Thank you, Cody. Karen, do you have anything for the meeting?
Hello, everyone. Not a whole lot of new information after everyone else has already talked, but I'm going to say it anyway because I'm so proud of everyone and all the work that's been done. To echo what Cody just said, I think the best message that we gave everyone was to just stay connected, stay calm. We did not want any students or parents stressed. It's a stressful enough time as it is. I think that the way that the teachers are presenting information through choice boards, with the guidance from Christine, who I cannot rave enough about, she has provided endless support and continues to do that every day for all of us. When I compare the way that we're rolling things out to other districts, and even some of my family members who work in other districts, I'm very, very happy with what we're doing and how calm and collected and caring everyone is. I think it's really kept the stress level down, and we haven't necessarily put numbers or times on what the expectation is, but we gave them choices and just the next 2 weeks to work on those things. And the teachers are doing a great job of finding ways to stay connected with the kids, making sure, we're checking in with them every day. So I was really proud to help with the food distribution. I could go on and on. So really, really proud to be a part of this team.
Thank you, Karen. Any questions for Karen?
I just want to, oh, sorry, it's Hallie. I just want to echo something real quick. I've been getting a couple text messages because we are live streaming, and I guess people are actually watching. So a lot of the middle school teachers were meeting with their staff, with their students today on Zoom, Jeff, just to let you know that it definitely is happening. And then I just got a text that said, Christine is an angel from heaven. So she is unbelievably, we are so lucky to have Christine. And if you don't work with her, you don't really know that. But she is a complete rock star and makes everything just so easy. The fact that, some of us dinosaurs are able to really figure out this tech stuff pretty easily and quickly speaks volumes to her and her abilities to help us. So can't echo it enough how wonderful she is. That's it. I'm done.
Well, if we had petty cash, I'd tell you to give her $100 from petty cash, but we don't have any of that. So excellent job, Christine. If you're out there listening, we appreciate you, as it sounds like the whole staff does. Tom Baker, do we have any questions that have come in from the public?
There are no questions at this time, but I do want to comment that I feel totally underdressed in my socks and sweatshirt after seeing Cody. So kudos to you, man.
I think Cody mows the lawn in that outfit. So
It was beach day today, and I go to the beach in this. So
all right, excellent. All right, I'll turn it over to Bill.
Okay. Obviously, the first thing all the time is the actual compared to budget for the month of February. In the revenue section, we continue to get our tax advances. We received our second one, and that's what's skewing that line item pretty significantly at this point. The county auditor is working on the final receipt. I'm pretty confident that we will be pretty close to budget. I would believe that it will be a little bit above budget at this time. I will provide the details to that at the April meeting. The other line is also the line I would like to talk about in the revenue section. We actually received our second Medicaid billing receipt settlement for the year. Historically, the state and the federal government 2 years behind. They're actually catching up. Now we're only 1 year behind. So we did receive 2 settlements. Only one was budgeted for the year. So that will ultimately skew that line item in a favorable way for the rest of this fiscal year in the tune of about $39,000. Due to the fact of the real estate taxes coming in as advances and not completed yet, the total revenue section does right now show a little over $1 million in a favorable variance. Like I said, however, that will change and adjust once we get into April. In the expenditure section for the month, there's really not any concerns to talk about for the month. Everything was pretty close to budget. Year to date, we still have some line items that are fairly significant in their variance. Luckily, all of them are favorable in nature. Starting with the fringe benefits line, we do have our HSA contributions were a little bit less than budgeted. So that line item has the potential to stay favorable here going forward due to that fact. Purchase services, I'm a broken record. Every month I come back to you noting that the purchase services line is favorable. Once again, it is. We did actually get another partial billing from Woodmore. However, there's still about $55,000 still outstanding that we still actually owe Woodmore for shared services that we still have to get billed for. We also have what's called excess cost charges for students that go to other districts that are actually our students, but they are special ed students and they cost more. Other districts can charge us for those additional needs and expenses for those needs. And that comes in to a tune of about $82,000. So although we're about $139,000 favorable that line item, a few of these, that will basically come back closer to budget. We have a few things that are just timing issues that we just don't have in there for an expense. There are a few other good things going on. Wren Hill, bus repairs, and some other special ed costs overall are actually coming in better than budget. So that purchase services line, it will come back closer to budget, but I believe it'll continue to be favorable going forward. In the material lines and text line item, the third line that's favorable right now year to date, instructional supplies, bus fuel, bus tires. There's a few line items that are driving that line to be favorable. And I also believe that line item will remain favorable throughout this fiscal year. As I told you in the past, our fiscal year 20 budget, we are set to look at deficit spending about $237,000. However, with the better than expected budget, we're trending about $84,000 of deficit spending. Now, with the coronavirus and everything that's going on, there's a potential for maybe a little bit of adjustment to the good due to the fact that items such as rent hill, bus repairs, travel, bus fuel, those items, unless we come back, will pretty much stay stagnant. We won't go anywhere. So those could have a potential effect on the bottom line going forward. With that said, though, we could have a potential in the food service. If you look down at the bottom of the actual comparative budget, you'll see a $50,000 advance basically that we did to food service due to not having students pay for lunches and so forth in a grand scale. We may not have, or we may be needing an additional advance to food service, which comes out of general fund. Overall, right now, it's primarily, the cash balance is primarily being dictated by the real estate tax line. Right now, though, 1.2 million ahead of schedule. However, I'm going to tell you, don't get so excited if you hear that 1.2 million favorable. That will come back down to earth once we get the real estate line item all taken care of. The final recipients of the receipts and so forth, that'll come back down to back down closer to budget. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Once February gets done, March will be a clear picture, and as we move forward to the end of the fiscal year, the picture will get clearer and clearer where we're going to be. I tried to clear that up down at the bottom, giving you a budget trend. Although, like I said, 1.2 million in favorable variance, that's what it shows. We're probably taking in consideration all the things that are timing issues and so forth. We're probably closer to like the $84,000 in deficit spending in total. Any questions, comments, or concerns with anything for February or year to date?
Hey, Bill.
Yes.
This is Mike. Just a quick comment. I talked to Lisa Cruikshank earlier today, and she indicated, has been passed on to her, that there's a good chance that the feds are going to cover the cost of feeding our non-free and reduced kids. So it's looking favorable that could happen. Of course, we can't count on it, I know, until it gets here, but at least that's some good news on that front, which may help that budget.
Perfect. I was wondering if anything would happen in that respect. I'm glad to hear that could be a good possibility. Any other questions before I go on to the items for approval? Okay. If not, I'm going to make your night a little bit. The first item for approval, the shared services agreements with Woodmore. I have not received yet from Woodmore, so I'm going to have to table those until the April board meeting. So that one, we can go on to the next one. The next one is the North Point ESC shared cost contract for fiscal year 21. At this point, there are really no changes to the current use of services from North Point. If you look on that first page of the service agreement, you'll see X's besides multiple things we use them for, we use ESC for. None of those currently are going to change. However, we are in discussions for additional shared services with Woodmore. I'm not going to get into the details of that because I'm not, I don't know if it's going to happen, but we're looking into a couple things that that may come up. So we spend a little over $400,000 with the ESC on an annual basis, fiscal basis, on those items as noted. Do you have any questions on the ESC contract? If no questions, I would just need a motion to approve the contract for the fiscal year 21 year.
Thomas Cashin, I move to accept the contract.
Keith Traver, second.
Okay, I'll go through the motion. Mr. Cashin,
Mr. Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Traver, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Perfect. I would like to take a 30 seconds on what the coronavirus might mean to our budget, basically, for this fiscal year, which surprisingly may not have too much of a profound effect either way, good or bad. Per Ohio Revised Code pertaining to public emergency, we are required to pay staff during the emergency. So the reality of it is 80% of our budget is based off of salaries and benefits, which really will actually just continue. There won't be much of any change during this time for salaries and benefits. Like I said a little bit previously, there could be, and there potentially, if we don't have, if we do not return to school for the year, there could be a potential savings in some purchase services items such as rental substitutes, bus repairs, travel costs, supplies such as bus fuel, and some other assorted supplies. However, they shouldn't be terribly significant in nature. Obviously, we're heading towards April, so we really have only 2 months left of the budget year, truly, of school. So those items shouldn't be significant, but they could be applicable. As I told you, the food service was my concern. I'm hopeful that with what Mike noted earlier, that the federal government will help us in some way when it comes to the loss in revenue from food service. So hopefully that will come into play. And other than that, the only other thing I had was a reminder that next month's meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 20th. Not on a Tuesday, but on a Monday. So just to provide a reminder that our next meeting for April is Monday, April 20th.
Hopefully we'll all be together, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah. Other than that, that's all I have.
All right, Mike, we'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you. Okay, on page 9, I need the board to approve the following recommendations there as listed. There are 2 leaves of absence.
Chrissy Lewis, motion to approve.
Keith Travers, second.
Okay, Mr. Cashin,
Mr. Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Travers, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on page 10, I ask the board to approve the employment of the following supportive personnel as listed.
Keith Travers, motion to approve.
Tom Cashin, second.
Okay, Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Travers, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on page 11, I would ask the board to approve the employment of the following certificated personnel. Brenna Farrell, we've had a situation with a shortage of substitutes throughout the year. So teachers from time to time are asked to fill in a class where they can, and sometimes it has to be on their planning period. So per the contract, if we ask them to fill in on their planning period, they are to be reimbursed for that. So just need a motion.
Motion, Jeff Trainer.
Second, Chrissy Lewis.
Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Travers, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Okay, on page 12, I'd like to ask the board to approve the following professional meetings and field trips. Now, obviously, these field trips are in jeopardy. Obviously, the one on March 9th is already, well, that would have taken place. I'm sorry, that one would have taken place already. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the rest of them may or may not happen, but just go ahead and approve them for now and hope that they'll come to pass. So just need a motion.
Motion, Jeff Trainer.
Second, Keith Travers.
Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Travers, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, on page 13. Need the board to approve, and Bill, do I need to separate these all out, or can I do some together?
Actually, I need them all separated, please.
Okay, gotcha. All right, number one, to approve the naloxone, that's the Narcan administration policy that you were given a couple months ago.
Motion to approve. Ron Reitnauer.
Second,
Second,
Mrs.
Tom
Lewis.
Cashin.
Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Traver, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Okay, number two.
Thank you.
Number two, the second reading for the 2021 school calendar. Just one thing that is not on there is the graduation dates. In view of what may or may not happen, there could be some juggling of that. The dire forecast said this virus may affect us going into the start of next year. We just don't know. So that's just being held out there for the time being. I just need approval on the calendar as it stands now.
Motion, Jeff Trainer.
Ron
Keith
Reitnauer,
Traver, second.
Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Traver, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
Number three there, I need the board to approve the open enrollment for the 2019-20 school year situation where a student moved out of the district and wanted to remain for the remainder of the year.
Mrs. Lewis, so moved.
Tom
Motion to-
Cashin, second.
I got
Yeah.
Cookie first and Tom second. Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Traver, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, number four, I need the board to approve the level 2 volunteers as listed on your handout.
Keith Traver, motion to approve.
Ron Reitnauer, second.
Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis,
Mr. Traver,
Keith Traver, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
And finally, number five there, that is an MOU for custodians and maintenance and bus driver uniform reimbursement. I'm going to let Mr. Nye give you the brief version of what that's about.
I was basically approached by custodial staff, actually, namely the head of maintenance, wanting to look to see if we could do something different when it came to the uniforms that the district provides to custodial staff, to head of maintenance, and also to the bus mechanic. Currently, we do a reimbursement for work shoes. Therefore, we started looking at the possibility of some sort of reimbursement for their uniforms itself. So myself and Dan Kulisic initially looked at options and so forth, and we came up with our initial options, ran it by Mr. Ferguson and also by Mr. Dave DeClute, who is the union president. Also, Dan ran it by the other custodians and bus mechanic on an opportunity to provide the custodians and everyone what they kind of want, and also not to cost the district anymore. This actually will be a little bit of a savings to the district. And like I said, it's a joint request. It's not something that either side was wanting and so forth. I think this was both a win-win for each of us, or for both of us. So that's basically what it is. It's basically, instead of using Cintas as an outside vendor, the individual staff members will be able to go out, purchase their jeans and so forth on a reimbursable basis. On a fiscal year basis, it notes how much they are to receive. And we're going to do the program that way going forward.
Okay, unless there's any questions, I just need the board to approve number 5.
Is there a policy written, Mike, regarding what it is there's to receive, or something?
There's an amount that is that was put out there. Bill, what was that total amount that was there?
Actually, in their union contract, as it is today currently, it just notes that the district is to provide uniforms. It doesn't say an amount. It doesn't say anything of that sort. So what we currently do is we use a company called Cintas. That company, we do a 3-year contract with them. That company's contract is coming up in June. So when that came up, or when it was coming up, Mr. Kulisic and I just started talking about, okay, what opportunities could we have to better the program? And this is basically what we came up with.
What is it that Cintas provides currently?
They provide jeans, and they also provide shorts. They used to also provide shirts. However, we purchase those internally now. Mr. Ferguson purchases shirts for all the individuals on an annual basis. So that used to be Cintas also, but we no longer do that. So right now it's just jeans and shorts.
So the funds provided will be for comparable clothing or comparable uniform wear, but at the custodian's choice.
Correct. Now they can't go out and get Dockers. They can't go out and get dress pants or anything like that. I mean, it has to be a work jean, a Dickies or a Carhartt or something to that effect.
Is that going to be spelled out?
It is not. It does say in here a work jeans if you read the MOU. So I guess you could, for a custodian, logic would note that a Carhartt would be a work jean, not necessarily a Docker.
They do have to turn a receipt in, and if the receipt will show what they purchased. Now, if it looks a little, it doesn't look like it falls into that category, we certainly can question that, but which we've had to do in the past with the shoes. So that's that's something we'll look at if we get something that doesn't look appropriate.
Yeah, that's my concern, or not really concern, just usually we keep appropriate parameters, I suppose, on that.
Yes, we will. Okay, so if there's no more questions, need the board to approve number 5.
Motion to approve. Ron Reitnauer.
Keith Trevor, second.
Okay.
Mr. Cashin.
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis.
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver.
Keith Trevor, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer.
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
And Mr. Trainer.
Jeff Trainer, yes.
Thank you.
That's all for my part tonight. I do want to I think I could go down a laundry list of thanking people for their efforts, but I have to thank Tom Baker and Jeff Trainer for helping pull this together, this live stream together for tonight. Hopefully it's going out there well, and audio and visual are working well, it seems to be. So I just want to thank them for their part in that. And just Lauren Shanewell could not be here tonight. She also has done yeoman's work in getting all of the information necessary to make sure that we are servicing the needs of our special ed students appropriately in this time of closure. They are continuing to conduct meetings, and they did that they had 4 meetings today, or 5 meetings today. They did via Google Hangouts. So they are going to continue with this process, making sure that we're doing what we have to do to serve our kids. And then Karen, Karen Roby has done a great job also of just pulling everything together, along with Christine, getting those resources out there for our teachers. And I guess I could go on and on, but I'm just so proud of this group and everything that they've done. They just, we continue to be leaders out there amongst the school districts in terms of what we're doing for kids. And it's all thanks to these people here. So that's it. I'm done.
I just want to add a kudos to Ohio's Attorney General. Stepped in and said, we could go to this digital format, and he would defend us if needed for doing it. But this was the right thing to do. This is the healthy thing to do. This is the smart thing to do. And I just appreciate really the Ohio government for taking a lead in the nation. And I just wanted to state it here that it's a really proud day to be an Ohioan. I have actually ordered an Ohio flag to fly in my yard. And it's a good state when they're putting their citizens first. And I know it's tough on small businesses and folks out there, but I feel the support's going to come to that group very quickly from the state and the federal government as well. So thank you for all your flexibility. Tom, did we get any other feedback from the public before I move to adjourn?
Yeah, no emails come in, so no comments or questions.
All right, thank you.
Hey, Jeff, real quick.
Yep.
I just wanted to also just commend Mike on the wonderful leadership as well. It's amazing to see everybody come together, but we want to commend you as well, and thank you for all the hard work that you've done as well during all this.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Anything else from the board? Motion to adjourn.
Okay, I just need a second for that.
Tom Cashin, second.
Hey, Mr. Cashin,
Tom Cashin, yes.
Mrs. Lewis,
Mrs. Lewis, yes.
Mr. Traver,
Keith Traver, yes.
Mr. Reitnauer,
Ron Reitnauer, yes.
and Mr. Trainer.
Mr. Trainer, yes.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:57.
We've made digital history at the Genoa School Board. So great job, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, she brought a puppy.
All right, bye, everybody. Thank you. Our new pooch. All right. Okay, how do I leave?
Yeah, push
Click on
the
yourself.
down bottom. She's gone. So you got to end the live stream somehow. I don't have to do that.
Let me see here. Let me see. Not that.
Oh, I got it. Let's stop recording first.